Hello and good evening. Welcome back for round 3 of CTC PC Division. We're here for the magnificent Suzuka track in lovely Japan. Obviously, you can see I'm by myself. Corey Brooks obviously explained last week to me he was picking up I believe a dog for his mum. So unfortunately, he is stuck in traffic. So you just have to settle with me, good old Piney Penguin tonight. And obviously my co-comms Kevin, who's just going to sit there on the microphone. So we'll just about to hop into full qualifying for the race. I will try to show between qualifyings the results and standings from last week. But without further ado, I'll quickly show you a recap video of last week that Oscar from Pivot Media made for us last week, so I'll just stick that on screen now. Hopefully it works.
What the actual Hey guys, you know who I am, so let's cut to the chase. Round 2 was an absolute shambles.
Or in PSGL was just the biggest shambles.
Azuri's driver later.
Obviously, thank you, Oscar, for making that video. So obviously now we will get into qualifying, and between Q1 and Q2 I will show you the updated standings. That's the wrong button. This should be the right button, please. There we go. I should also I'm just gonna quickly add source so you guys quickly see everything. I do apologize. I do want to add one quick thing which I did forget to use, but I don't think it's gonna matter because you can already see all the drivers. So obviously this is the current lineup for tonight's race. You've got Azuri for Daniel, Mass and Austin. Tatum Race Tech have Gabriel Amento, I think that is, and Valentino Labelle. AMR has Jivadar and Nono Esperadas? I cannot say that without screwing it up. FRT has Campbell Adams and Trisk. I think Trisk has raced every single race for them. CPI has Enzo. Sorry. Venturi has as Enzo and Nando. For some reason, it still says CPI on my screen when he's on Venturi now. I do apologise for that. For some reason, it's still bugged for me, and I don't know why. We got TF10 with Avadi Kabadi and Alexander Graf. FIA has Max Gropoinier, I think that is, and Defi, which I believe is Nick Arrow. For some reason, that's also booked on my screen. It should say Nick Arrow for FIA, but hey ho. And then for SCA, we've got Isvan Pookie. I can say the last bit, but I can't say his first bit. And then his teammate Joe Murphy. And then last but not least, we've got Patrick Duckmeyer and Ryan Gobb for ET8. Anyway, we're going to ride on board here with Daniel Mass as he's pretty much at the hairpin of the track. Let's just grab that. We don't win. Yep, that's all we need. Oh, wrong button. Obviously, he's setting his banker lap on the intermediates here as he's coming into Spoon Corner, but he's gone very deep. Screwed that up just a little bit there. Obviously now back on the power, and he's already invalidated his time. Let's see. Is that Avadi Kabadi? Yeah, it is Avadi Kabadi. Yeah. It's pronounced as Cross pointer. I will try to pronounce it correctly, but you'll have to forgive me. The names just look awkward to me, so you'll have to give me a break, because obviously I am by myself. Obviously Corey Brooks should be with me, but obviously he is not. He's stuck in traffic, and I've missed Gabriel here doing a 132.6 on those intermediate tires. So that's Cesar Bank here. Let's see who else is next across the line. Oh, it's Wojciech. You know what? I'm not gonna start. I can never say this guy's name. I can say his last name is Steg, as Nick Arrow goes to the top of the timing boards. I'm sure this is Nick Arrow. And then I've got Ryan Gorby for ET8 coming into third for the time being. We've got Jivida here, aka Washed, for AMR, coming out the last corner. Where's he gonna put that Ferrari? Ahead, just behind Ryan there. As I think Valentino Labelle might be. No, not the next person across the line. Vadikabadi has invalidated their lap, so it won't be them. No worries, just trying to help. Yeah, if people can... It's... Yeah, you might as well say grasshopper. Yeah, so yeah, I do apologise if I butcher driver names in this. I say, please forgive me. I'll say it. I don't know how they're realistically sounded. It's just, it's difficult when you have trouble reading. So you'll have to give me a break when it comes to it. Obviously, some names are easy to read, and some are not quite so much. So you'll have to cut me some slack. I believe is Luke. I don't know if he's like, is he going fast? No, he's going slow. Lucas is not. It doesn't look like people are really setting laps here on the Inters. We've only got 6 people that did laps. So, I'm just gonna have to tab out for a second just to confirm, because I'm pretty sure Defi is Nick Arrow. But I just need to make sure I'm right, because I don't want to get it wrong. Yeah, it is. Okay. But I just needed to make sure I didn't get it wrong. I said he's only in P4 because that's what the banker lap is on the Inters. We got Tris here for Future Racing Team. Obviously, for me, it still says Aversio. I've had this bug for the last 3 weeks now when they've been racing. Their tag is Aversio for me, but it's not. He's on FRT. For some reason, this is bug. I've had this bug for the last 3 weeks because this man has raced every week for Future Racing Team, but I don't know why. I don't know why this has occurred, but. Anyway, gonna have Trisky about to start. Trisky starting their lap. You know, I need to. One thing I did kind of forget to get was a track map on my phone. So as I as he's coming, as I just get back onto the power as we come into the very wavy first sector here. Going around turn 6 and now coming up to turns 7 and 8, I do believe. I'm just getting a track map so I can identify the corners, so it's easy for me. There's I think it's only like 18 corners or something like that, this track. Not that thing. So first gear just coming around turn 12 and now coming up to spoon curve of 13 and 14. And then a bit down a long straight down to 130R. Obviously don't want to go too wide there because that can be an invalidation. We have seen that earlier. Pretty much now everybody's out on the track for an out lap. And then Trish here is the only person that's actually going to be setting a full lap as they're coming into the final chicane. And now round the final corner, back onto the power, up to the line, DRS open now. Cross line, the banker time, everyone's got to be, it's a 126.419. Now, who is next? I do see an Aston Martin. I think it is Joe. No, Joe is on a lap. His teammates are about to start a lap, so we'll ride on board with Joe Murphy for the time being. As he's going to come up to a lot of traffic. And I think he's backed out. Yeah, he's backed out his lap. Joe is backed out of his lap. So right on board of his teammate Pookie as they're coming down into the first turn of turns 1 and 2. And want to be nice and tight onto the apex and back onto the power for these curves. Obviously I assume little braking, little lift off in. Some of these I believe you can probably run like full throttle, but I don't know. Sometimes I'm just talking crap rubbish, so yeah, I tried to correct myself immediately after Thomas Lang, but yeah. Oh, that's how I. What was it? Poofy? I don't know how to say these. I'm gonna get all these names wrong tonight. Oh god, I am gonna get so taken the mickey out of tonight. As I've missed Gabriel Amento going P2 4/10 off of Trish. As I am watching, you know what? Pookie is. Okay. I was gonna say you genuinely had me there for a minute. But anyway, Pookie up to the line, over 2/10 faster than Trish. So that's good for them. As No for AMR's coming across the line doing a 26.6, almost a 16 again. As Austin coming across the line doing a 27.7. As Campbell is just a 10th off of his teammate. Ryan Gobb also in the 27s. Daniel Masters coming across the line for 26.9. We're gonna have, I think, FER coming across the line of Max. Max up to 3rd. Steg up to 7th. Alexander Graf gonna knock Max down a peg. Washed in doing a 27.0. As Nando for Venturi's gone up to 2nd, only just over a 10th behind Pookie. And now we've got Enzo coming out last corner. He's right behind Joe Murphy, who jumps up to 8th. Enzo will be the next across the line. Where's they're gonna go? They're gonna go top of the timing board by just over 0.14 of a second. And the last person across the line will be Avadi Gabadi, who had just crossed the line as I was about to go to him, and they've slotted into 10th with a 26.66. So everybody's pretty much done a lap. The only person that hasn't is Nick Arrow. Nick Arrow's first lap is still on their intermediate times, but they have invalidated their first softer run, so that is unfortunate for them. If they have enough fuel, they might go for another lap, but we'll have to soon see, because obviously they don't want to left. No, I was don't worry about it, Thomas. For some reason, it's a bug on my end. So Enzo is not on CPI. CPI doesn't exist. It's SCI. But for some reason, because obviously the last time I saw Enzo, he was on CPI before they merged with Suzu. And so, and then obviously I know he swapped to Venturi because he's in the same car as Nando, but for some reason it still got his old tag from his old team. It's the same with Trisk in the with the Future Racing team. He's got the adversity tag when he's supposed to have FRT. But like I say, it's a bug on my side. There's a bug on my side. There's nothing much I can do about that. Obviously, I don't know how to fix that. I really don't. But I already know about this, so it is fine. Pretty much everyone's now in the pit, into the pits. Got just over 3.5 minutes left of Q1 here. As soon as Q1 is finished, I'll show you the full classification of who is out in Q1, and then I will bring up last week's race results for you. And I think Enzo and Alexander Graf believe they are safe, so they've called off the dogs early, as well as Trisk. If I was Enzo and Pookie, I would say sure, a 26-1 and 2 is I think more or less into Q2 at this point. I would say if you're a Vadi Kabadi, maybe not. But also Max and Campbell also retired, so is Joe. I say it. But it's like I wouldn't, be almost like saying in chat, bring back OGCPI. I don't think that's gonna happen. Obviously, right now we got Nick Arrow, Austin, Patrick, Ryan, and Washed all in the bottom 5. Daniel Mass is the driver at risk with that 26.9. So we'll have to see if those 5 at the bottom could go a bit quicker. We're going to ride on board with Steg, as he is first one of the bottom lot to come back out on track, because the top 9 have retired. This is where, like, this, if somehow Joe and Campbell get knocked out with that 26.5s, that'll be unfortunate for them. It's Gabriel who's the ART driver, so yeah, his teammate's retired. But yeah, pretty much all these guys are out, including Luca. Bruh, Gob being 17th. Yeah, hopefully Ryan Gob can improve on their lap, because if you're in the 27s, you're more than less not making Q2, as we're riding on board here with Steg as they are warming up their tyres for their final run here in Q1. And ride on board of them as they're coming out the final chicane here. And obviously here we go, Steg starting their lap on the power, coming down the first turn. Want to be nice and tight there. Don't want to get too much on the curb, because I think you can spin out if you're too fast on that entry curb at turn 1. But anyway, now into the curves. The next four corners here. And now coming up to round turn 7. And then back down the hill here for turn 8 and 9 across the first sector split. Only a 10th up on their current last best time. That would see them above Gabriel and Mento in 13th, but we'll have to see how much they improve in this middle sector as we're coming around the tight hairpin here of turn 11. And now back onto the power for the flat out turn 12. And also he wants to keep his foot in as much as possible, and then we're coming up to the famous corner of the spoon corner of 13-14, and now back onto the power for the pretty much flat out turn 15 of 130R. Or just drag across the second sector split. It's almost 3/10 up. This could see him into the 0.6's checkered flag has fallen. Steg into the last final chicane, doesn't want to get too wide or turn too early to validate. Foot to the floor, DRS open, up to the line. Where's Steg gonna go? It's P10 right now for Steg with a 26.5. As we got Gabriel Amento here coming round the corner. How much improvement? It's just over a 10th, puts them back to 13th, but I don't know if that's going to be enough for them. Now going aboard with Ryan Gobb as they're the next person to come around 130R and down to the start finish line. Coming now down to the final chicane. on the brakes now, back on the power. Currently in 17th, needs a big improvement. Round the last corner, up to line. It's a massive improvement. It's up to 11th for Ryan. No, up to 12th, pushing Avada Gabadi down. Daniel Mash does not improve, so they're out. Nick Arrow improves on that lap, but they're out. Patrick only improves up to 16, so he's out. Just Washed and Austin. Austin's finished out. Washed across the line improves, but out. Avada Gabadi improves up to P7. And I think Lucas, the other test driver, might have improved. We'll soon find out. But Ryan Gobb definitely improved to get out the bottom. So here you go then. Full classification then. I won't bore you with the top. We're only going to bother with the bottom 5. So Austin, Washed, Daniel Mass, Nick Arrow as a shock, and Patrick are all out in Q1. So the rest of the drivers will progress to Q2. Gabriel Amento, very, very lucky to make it. But because Avadi Bagadi did go up. Where did... Oh yeah, there we go. Lucas went up to 3rd. Yeah, it sounds like I'm doing some magic. But anyway, just quickly, if I remember the button, is it this one? No, it's not that one. There we go, it's that button. So here's the results from last week's race. Obviously, we saw last week Larry Trulke did cross the line first last week. Obviously, with the 3-second time bonus they got, they did drop behind Victor Widler. But that penalty was since removed, so they are now 2 from 2 for FVR, with Victor Widler and Steg on the podium. And obviously, points go from 1st down to 15th, if I believe. But Chris was the last person to get points, and obviously you can see that Lumi disqualified, with Patrick and Isaac not finishing the race. I'll just quickly put on the team standings for you. Quickly, there you go. So you see FVR at the top ahead of Venturi by only 4 points going into this race. We got Shizu, Sidic and Nitrous a further 20 behind Venturi. Sorry, 20 behind FVR and 16 behind Venturi. We got TF10 3 points behind Shizu. We got Thomas Eng Racing 2 points further back. Future Racing Team only an extra point behind. And then we go down to AMR with 18, Tatum Race Tech with 15, ET8 with 9, and Azure at the bottom with 8. So that is last week's standings and things. So all that can change, obviously. Obviously, as well, we've got an extra point for pole position and fastest lap in this league. So when it comes to the top 10 shootout, it's going to be all important for that pole position extra point. Everyone is out onto the track. The only person that's not out right now is Max. Max is the only person not out on track. Who is at the front? It's cute. I think it's Valentino Labella. We'll go on with Labella here. The Tatum Race Tech. Want to try and get the team some more much needed points, obviously, because they are stuck down in 8th in points. So we'll have to see if Tatum can improve on their points tally. But anyway, we're going to ride on board here with Valentino, as they are going to be the first ones to set a lap this time around, as they're coming into the first curve here. Still pretty much flat out onto the curb a little bit, obviously then back in tightly. Now coming into the curves. Ooh, caught a little bit of grass there, so that's not going to help their tyres a little bit. Might have a little slide. It looks clean enough for the time being. It's right on board here. We can see if they actually cut any of the corners and cut the curbs. So they're keeping it nice and tight there on the inside of 7. Cut a little bit there of 8, and then round 9. Now up the hill to turn 10. Now back onto the brakes for turn 11. A little lock up by the sound of it there. And a little bit of wheel spin there as well on the exit, but obviously now keeping it very tight here on turn 12. And then now coming around spoon curve. Valentino, I would assume is going to be probably also on an old set of tyres, probably what to do their banker lap. I'd assume most people are actually coming around 130R. And now down to the heavy braking zone of the final chicane. little bit of a slide there by the look of it, but all nice and tidy all the way around. Coming around the last corner, up to the line. What's it going to be? Benchmark is a 26.696. As Pookie does a 26.408. Joe Murphy does a 26.7. Enzo does a 26.8. Alexander Graf also does a 26.8, but slightly slower. Gabriel does a 27.2, and so does Ryan Gobb. Campbell will be the next one after Avadi Gabadi as they go up to 4th. Campbell Adams will shoot up to 2nd place as Steg has gone up to P8. Lucas into P9. Nando bumps Campbell down as he takes 2nd. And Nono for AMR goes into 6th, with Trisk and Max not actually setting laps right now. So it's about an 8/10 spread there from 1st down to 13th. So I think some of these guys were on old tyres, possibly. We'll have to wait and see. Like I said, not a bad start for these guys. Obviously, Trisk was out on the track, but I think they invalidated a lap. So, but oh, here we go. They're both going back out as everyone's coming back in, so they're gonna have the track all to themselves. And while Trisk goes for their out lap, we'll give you a bit of a start here. So obviously Pookie at the top at the minute for 126.4. And Nando 26.6, same with Campbell and Valentina Labella, all doing 6s. I think about 800 separates 2nd to 4th, and then you got Joe Murphy, Nono, and Aviv doing 26.7s, and again 800 separates the 3 of them. And you got Lucas Vecina. Yeah, I'm not going to even try to say that. I'm just going to say Lucas, because I know I say that. And Enzo and Alexander Graf all doing 26.8s. And then, unfortunately, we got Steg doing 27.0. Ryan Gobb doing 27.2. And same with Gabriel also doing a 27.2. So hopefully these guys, when they can come out again and do their laps, we'll have to see if they can improve on those times. So obviously those 27s will not be enough to see them into Q2, because Q3 for the top 10 shootout. Because obviously, Gabriel only just got in with a 26.7, I believe. Obviously, Max is also out on track. As we've got a few others now coming out of the pit lane. So this could pose some trouble for Trish here. As, yep, they are literally all coming out. You know what, let's ride on board as we see it. Like, you can see them all coming out here. Make sure you keep out the way of the very fast Alpine coming through. So these guys will have to try and get out the way. Obviously this poor Alpine is gonna get thing. Yeah, and that's his lap done. Poor timing from the Venturi and the CSI there ahead of Trisky, actually kind of blocking his lap. So that is not helpful one for all. So he's actually backed out of his lap completely. Hopefully, if he's got enough fuel, he can go again. But who was it that were the blockers? It was not Enzo. It was actually Nando. Oh, it's Nando and Pookie. 1st and 2nd right now. Oh dear. Oh dear. So Pookie and Nando kind of impeding Trish there a little bit. So we'll have to see what's going to happen now. I'd assume they're just going to get 2 penalty points out of their team's license. Anyway, we're going to ride on board here with Max here, as he's got a clear road ahead of him. So he's going to set his first lap of the session, as we've just gone under 7 minutes left. So I don't think Triss is going to be happy, and I don't think FRT will be happy about that double block. Obviously, red on board here with Max. He's just coming through the first sector here. Now coming around turn 7, back down the hill towards turn 8. Aiden for TRT in chat saying esports driver and esports challenger with the awareness of a pigeon. Well in. Well done. Oh, did I say the SCI the wrong way around? I am. Thank you for noticing that, Thomas. I mucked it up. Thank you. I keep doing it. I keep saying the SCI the wrong way around. But anyway, right on board here with Max, as I just realised there's one thing that should be on the screen that's not. Is the lap data. Terrible commentator. I'm forgetting everything today. Tap, 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 tap. Not me. Anyway, Max, up to line. Where's he going to go? It is... Wow! 1:26.089. And Enzo is the first into the 25s there. Up to first there for Venturi. As Joe Murphy also improves to a 26.2. Same with Valentino Labelle. As Pookie also into the 25s as well. As Nando also improves to a 26.1. As Alexander Graf also improves to a 26.1 as well as they cross the line. Their teammate into the pits. Lucas invalidated. Steg is coming out last corner. Steg is actually going to finish that lap up to the line for Steg. It's a 5/10 improvement, puts on P8. But I don't think that's going to be good enough for Q3. Definitely not good enough for Q3. So it looks like Campbell Adams, Nono, Avadi Gabadi, Lucas, Ryan, and Gabriel all not happy with their laps, so they all boxed. Obviously, Trish, the only person not to set a lap right now. And obviously, right now, the driver at risk would be Nono right now. Because they are currently in 10th with a 26.7, which I know for a fact is not good enough to see them into Q3. I think Enzo and Pookie definitely don't need to do a third run, being the only two drivers in the 25s. I think these two are good, so they don't need to retire. So they can retire and save their tires. I think Max probably is okay as well with that 26.0. I think he's good. I think that's good enough to see them into Q3. I think Alexander and Nando might be okay, but I'm not 100%. Joe and Valentino, again, also same thing, but I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. But I think if you're 1, 2, and 3, I think you're more than less into Q3. Like I said, Valentino and Joe might scrape through. We'll have to see what everybody else does. So see, everyone's all got one lap left pretty much. We've got just over 3 minutes left. And hopefully this time, Trish here does not get screwed over by people coming over the pits again. We'll have to see why they did. See what happens. We'll have to see. I see a few people coming out. Obviously, Alexander Graf thinks they are through, but we'll have to soon find out. As Joe Murphy is coming out again. That was to be expected because as I say, it'll be nice to see if they can go a bit faster because, like I say, it depends what everyone else does, especially with track evolution. I think they could possibly be at risk, but I think again Tricia is gonna get impeded on their lap again, because again they're coming out a little bit too early, I think, because they're going to catch up to that AMR driver there ahead of them of No-No as they've just come out the pits. Like, come on engineers, please make sure your drivers get out the way. And there we go, as No-No has pulled over, and so has the ETA driver there rank up. Oh, and Tris making a massive mistake there. Riding too much of that curb. Bottled their lap, and that is that lap in the bin. They do have one more chance though if they have enough fuel to get round again. They do have enough time because there's 1 minute 30 left of the session, so they definitely have time to go again. Don't know why Pookie's out on the track again. As I think Man's just trying to show off at this point if he's coming back out. But anyway, we're going on board with Lucas as he's currently in P12 with a 26.8. Realistically, if he wants to make Q3, he will have, I would say, he will have to try and get a 26.2 if able. I would say faster than a 26.2 to more or less guarantee it. We'll have to wait and see. So I say, like I say, Valentino and Joe Murphy could definitely be safe with the 26.2s, but if I was them, I wouldn't risk it. I would try and see if you can go faster. Obviously, it might cost you another set of tires, but you know, obviously in Q3 you will get an extra set of softs. I'm pretty sure if I'm not. Anyway, right on board here with Lucas for Thomas Eng Racing as he's coming around Spoon Curve. We'll have to see what the split is as he's coming up to the second sector split now. Sorry. Now. 6/10th improvement. Oh, this could be in the 26.2s. He just needs to not muck up this the final chicane here. Coming around the last corner now for Lucas. Needs a good lap to make sure he's in Q3. He goes P3 with a 26.0. That will see him into Q3. I am 100% sure on that. And checkered flag has fallen, so who will be next across line? It will be Avadi Gabadi, as they are 4/10ths up in the middle sector, almost 5/10ths. They're currently P12. Need a good time to try and get into P3. Sorry, not into Q3. At last corner for Avadi Gabadi. Up, improves up to 7th for a 26.1. Valentino Labelle does improve on their time. Gabriel Ament improves on their time with a 0.3. Ryan Gobb improves to a 26.4. Doesn't get, only P11 now. As Trisk finally gets a lap in. Good enough for P11. Joe Murphy into the pits. No, doesn't improve. Campbell as invalidated. As Pookie is like, sorry Enzo, I had to ruin it for you. I want that provisional top. So Pookie is trying to make a statement as Steg, last person to come around. He needs at least a couple attempts to push the TRT driver out, and he does. Finds 3.5 tenths and just makes it in with a 26.2. But I was close. I called it when I said Valentino and Joe might be lucky. But I was right. A 26.2 saw you in Q3. So here we go then. So Pookie fastest in Q2 here with Enzo, then Lucas, Max, Alexander Graf, Nando, Avadi Kabadi, Joe Murphy, Valentino Labella, and Steg all making Q3. So we say goodbye to Gabriel Amento, Tris, Ryan Gobb, Campbell, Adams, and No. So that was very close to the end. If Steg there didn't make a decent lap, then I think as Campbell Adams has left the session, so that is... Somebody get him back in immediately, please. I want to know what's going on there. He should not have left. Or should I say, he doesn't need to leave. But anyway now, 12 minutes now of Q3, top 10 shootout. Pookie made a statement in Q2. Will they try and make that same statement again here in Q3? We will soon find out. We'll soon find out if they can. Obviously, I would assume he hopes he can. Obviously, set a fastest lap in that. I'm pretty sure they also did the fastest lap in Q1 as well. But a 25.911 was fastest. Second. So we'll have to see who is going to be fastest here. I think surely with that, obviously you've seen what Pookie and Enzo did, both did in 25.9s. I think I reckon a 25.7 would be pole. I think if somebody could do that, I think that could be the pole time. It'll either be like a 25.7 or 25.8. So see, Pookie was close to a 25.8, very close. So we will have to see if they can do that again. Obviously, we are waiting for the first driver to make it out, go out the pits. It doesn't look like anyone is going to at the minute, so while I have chance, I will rest my voice. Don't really need to gap until at the pits. Alright then, I can start yapping again as Enzo has now started their lap here, as it'll be the first lap here in is it the first one or did that, hang on, nope, Joe Murphy actually got ahead of went ahead, sorry, so it's not Enzo's going to be set the first lap in Q3 here, it will be Joe Murphy, so we'll have to see how well this man does. As he are now coming up to the classic curve here. Don't really want to mess that up. Obviously, Pookie will be the last person across the line. As Joe's coming down 130R here, doing a 109.224 in the middle sector. Just 4 corners left to go as we come in to final chicane and coming around the final corner here up to the line. What's the banker time going to be? It's a 26.173. Enzo will be next across the line and does a 25.7. I called that. A pole time could be a 25.7 and Enzo has delivered. Next person across the line will be Valentino Labella as they are coming out the last corner now up to line 26.3 to start. As the next person across the line will be Alexander Graf, and then I believe it'll be one of the Williams right on board here of Alexander as they're coming out the last couple corners to finish their banker time. as he comes up to the line, goes P2, also into the 25s, so that is good for him. Steg does a 26.5, and his and Max goes P5. Avadi does a 26.8. Lucas does a 27.3, and then Pookie across the line slots into P2 with a 25.8. So there you are, Pookie just under a tenth behind Enzo there on the first laps of running. Obviously Nando not happy with their lap as they invalidated very late on. So after the first rounds then it is Enzo at the top of the boards and Lucas at the bottom for the time being. After the first runs, I assume some of these drivers will do another run, but we'll just have to see what they decide to do. I can pretty much be quiet again. Save my voice for the race when the actual entertainment is. Have to wait and see, because I do believe the drivers will not come back out straight away. Only because well, just pits. I don't know how long's left of the session anyway, because they are going so slow. The yellow flags are just showing up everywhere. There we go, 4 minutes left, so the drivers won't come out straight away as someone has just absolutely murdered the pit lane board. That tells you if you like speed, and someone just absolutely committed a murder on it. But understandable if somebody did. If I do remember last week, in another race I watched earlier this week, a few people got so many pens for in the pits. Not very good. If just waiting now for drivers to hop back out onto the grid. Shouldn't be too much longer. Get these final runs going, as looks like Campbell Adams has finally rejoined the session. Hopefully we don't have a desync issue like we did last week. Who's going to be first back out onto the track then from these drivers? It is a Venturi. Or Enzo, or... It is Enzo. It's Enzo first this time around, and Valentino Labella next, with both SCIs coming out after. Enzo and Valentino are not. Obviously, Valentino does need to back off a little bit because slipstream and air banned. He needs to drop back a little bit. Valentino, you need to either speed past Enzo or drop back, because you should not be this close to him, like, at all. So gonna ride on board here with Enzo as he's trying to maximize how much speed he has here at the start of this last and final run. So Enzo currently done a 125.799. Can they improve on it at all? Can he get into the 0.6s? It's definitely possible, but we'll have to wait and see what they will do. As they're riding on board them through the curves here, coming up and around turn 7 here, and he's flat to the foot. Dagnabbit! English! Never mind. Anyway, he's 400ths up on his current time, so that will still see him in the 0.7s. Let's see how much they improve in this middle sector as we're currently around turn 11 here. Now back onto the panel for the flat out next corner. As you can see, Valentino Labella there just behind him. Obviously they're down in 5th place, so they need to make some improvement. As we've got 10 seconds left of the session. Steg just about to cross the line just before the checker flag falls. Anyway, Enzo coming up to the second sector split now, and they're almost a full 10th up. And I sneezed out like the worst time. Checker flag has fallen. Enzo now coming through the final chicane, almost a 10th up on their current time at the last corner. Up to the line, how much of an improvement it is? It is over a 10th improvement and does the 0.6. Valentino Labella does a 25.9 as Joe Murphy improves up to 2nd. Pookie now up to the line, goes even faster, and Enzo to take provisional pole. Still 7 drivers left, but Pookie does the 25.627. Next across the line will be Avadi Gabadi this time around instead of Alexander Graf. No, I cannot Tony Atala. Anyway, Avadi Gabadi at last corner, up to line, goes P3 with a 25.8 ahead of Joe Murphy. Nando also in the 25s. Alexander Graf goes even faster than his teammate. Lucas up to 6th. Steg, next person across the line, only improves up to 9th, so just got Max left for FER. Oh, they've invalidated our laps to the beginning. Yeah, it's... So here you go then. There's your top 10. So Pookie with fastest lap of the session for SCI. Then Enzo for Venturi will join him on the front row. Then it's the Haas. So there's a TF10 second row lockout with Alexander Graf ahead of Adai Kibadi. And then it's Joe Murphy and Lucas 5th and 6th. Nando in 7th. Valentino Labella 8th. Steg in 9th. And then Max for FVR. Couldn't improve on their time, so we'll start 10th. So SCI then it gets another point, gets an extra point there for the pole position lap, as we are now moving on to the race. Obviously, this is the point where I would bring up a calendar to show you stage 2, but unfortunately, Maze, the league promoter, I believe will reveal it tomorrow. Because I don't think it's going to get revealed today at this point. Or it might get revealed after the race. So, because obviously I already know what it is, but I am not going to tell anyone else. Well, sorry, I have a feeling I know what it is, but I'm not going to tell anyone else. I'm just going to let the league promoter promote the race. So we'll soon... Oh well. I should have. Wicked Pro already on the board for FRT. Already reported. No, Vadi. You could take the Mickey out what I'm saying, I don't give a rat's ass. I'm just terrible at pronunciations and stuff, and just like I'm not the best. And like I am trying my hardest, obviously, because I am on my own tonight. Like I said, Corey Brooks is stuck in traffic. Don't know if he'll make. I don't think he's gonna make it. So it's just gonna be me by myself. To be fair though, he did say he'd be home about 8:10, so he might be here in 10 minutes. Don't know. I say if he does come home and we're still racing, he's obviously free to join the call and commentate with me. But you just gotta remember, I'm the street. So obviously now we're just waiting for drivers to finalise their setups ready so we can get going for, I do believe, 27 laps around this magnificent Japanese track, if I'm not mistaken, because I do believe they do 54 in real life. Anyway, lights are on. 4, 5, lights. And lights out, and away we go. Here then for 27 laps around this magnificent track. Pookie gets off, Enzo Gilly gets off the front row better, and Pookie and these two are side by side as we come into the first curve. But Enzo takes the lead out of turn 1. The TF10 drivers have swapped places. A few people further back are swapping places as Max has already gained 2. Valentino Labelle's already lost 4. He's lost another one. He's lost so many already. Gabriel already passes teammates, so Valentino down to 13th. And Enzo already breaking away here from Pookie. He's already got 8 attempts over Pookie. So we'll have to see if Enzo can break DRS or... As I say it, he's already won a full second ahead. As Trisk getting into is fighting further back with... Yeah, well, there's a few people side by side. We've got Valentino Labelle here up the, trying to get the inside of Ryan Gubb, but small contact there gave Valentino a small wobble, so they're going to be under threat from Campbell. As a Red Bull is spinning in the background, it looks like Washed has lost one side of his front wing completely, so that's not going to help him one bit. So these guys are just dropped off the back. So this is not going to be helpful. So obviously so Enzo... So let's have a look at his positions. Valentina's lost 5 places. Austin's gained 3. Obviously Washed will have to pit for that front wing replacement, so that is not helpful for him. Nando's lost 2. Joe has swapped places with Lucas. The TF10 drivers swapped places, and obviously first and second are swapped. And Daniel Mas retiring in the pits. Obviously, hopefully Daniel Mas does not leave the session, as he's the lobby host. If he leaves the session, it is going to probably mess up the entire lobby. So this is where we're like, let's have a look at these tyres that people are on. That will explain why Enzo has got off the line better than Pookie. Pookie has started on the hards. That explains a lot. We'll get Enzo on the mediums, obviously already breaking a full second to Pookie, who's on the hards. They got both TF10 drivers on the mediums, same with Lucas. That'll explain why Lucas got past Joe Murphy, because he's also on the hards. So Steg, Max on mediums, Nando on hards, Gabriel on mediums. Then you've got Trisk, Ryan, Gob, and Valentino all on hards. Nando on mediums, Campbell on the hards, and then Patrick also mediums, and then everybody else on hards. That's your tyres for now. It looks like Pookie's got back within DRS of Enzo, so clearly Pookie is faster than Enzo in the last couple sectors, as it looks like Avadi Gabadi is all over the back there of Pookie, looking to try and make a move for P2 there, as the TF drivers all up that rear diffuser of the SCI ahead. Obviously, there is a tyre discrepancy, Meads versus Hards. Oh, as we've got a lovely camera angle right now. So yeah, Angela, Enzo was flying. Like, he gets away in the first 2 sectors, but then in the final sector, he doesn't really get away too much. If anything, Pookie closes the gap. Because, like, look, he's already broken a full second to Pookie. But Pookie's just going to get back in it as Triska and Ryan are fighting over P11. Further back. As we're keeping on board with the leaders, as I say, Pookie's flirting with that 1 second. As long as Pookie is within that 1 second at the dearest detection point, which is just after 130R, which they are pretty much, they will still get DRS. Also, there's only one DRS zone on this track. It is on the start and finish straight. As I say, there's not much. I am surprised that Washed is still racing, even with their broken front wing. They've had to come into repair, so that will explain about 36 seconds off the back of the field. No one's really moving, so like it's just gonna be like one long train. Well, pretty much is from P1 down to P16. Obviously, Nick Arrow is just outside of the DRS. That's only because of, I assume, what happened at the back with Daniel. We'll have to see. Obviously, I'm surprised nobody else is making any moves, but I think they're all just happy to sit in one long train. Is anyone really going side to side? That's what I want to see. The only two that's actually like relatively close enough to make any moves is Valentino and Nono Bear. He's like the closest to making a move, as we got yellow flags in sector 1, as it looks like Washed has spun and lost some of their front wing again. Dear. Yep, I think that could be the second time of this race with Washed having to repair his front wing again. More than likely now will be lapped, and I think that he, if I'm being honest, he should probably obviously that's my thing, but yeah. After soon we'll see if they do. Obviously, Nick Arrow and Austin are struggling to keep up with the pack ahead of them. That is being led by Enzo, obviously taking the lead on the very first lap here, as we are on lap 5 of 27. We'll have to see if anything changes. If Nick Arrow wants to get him the points, he does need to catch up to the back of Patrick. He's almost. Washed picked up 10 seconds for corner cutting. Yeah, that's. Yeah, and 10 seconds for speeding. Yep, he's done. It was kind of obvious that was going to happen, that they were just going to cut corners and give up. Like, they damaged their front wing again, so that not helping them one bit. So Washed becomes the second retirement of this race after Daniel on the very first lap. So we are down to 18 drivers left in this race, as Nick Arrow is still trying his hardest to get on the back of that ETA driver at the very back, but he's not going to do it. Obviously, the question is, when will Pookie make a move for the lead of this race, because he's on the harder compound tyres. So he could be pitting a little bit early. He could end up pitting a little early because of because obviously Enzo is on the lead. So obviously people mix strategies here. I'm not sure what it is around this track. I'm not sure if it's a one stop or a two stop, but we'll soon find out. Because obviously I probably need to brush up on my knowledge as well. I think. For these races, I need to start watching like PSGL and WR, but yeah. Anyway, Enzo still in the lead here after 5.5 laps, as it looks like Austin has well and truly just dropped off the back, so it looks like Azure might not be scoring any points, as finally Nick Arrow does finally get into the 1 second of Patrick in 16th. So now that Nick Arrow's in the 1 second, he surely should be able to start catching up and making some moves. So now one long DRS train from 1st down to 17th. It's just when are people going to make some moves. So it looks like Joe Murphy's going to make a move down the inside at the chicane on Lucas there. So it looks like Joe has had enough. He's like, I want to make some moves. He's not going to do what his teammates doing, just waiting behind. He's now on the move. So it looks like Joe up into 5th ahead of Lucas. As Campbell Adams into the pits to retire and left the session. Huh. Why is Campbell retired? Question mark. I'm so confused why he's just given up. Okay then. Very, I'm confused by that, but anyway. Campbell Adams becomes the 3rd retirement from this race, so only 16th or 17th will not get points. Obviously right now, Nick Arrow was in DRS of Patrick, but is now out of it, but Patrick is out the DRS of Nono, so we're only down to a 14-man train now instead of a 17-man train. So that is not gonna be helpful for them. But they might find some time in the pits when obviously pit stops can jumble everything up. It's just when is the right time to pit is the big question. There's obviously a ride on board here with Joe Murphy. He made that amazing move last lap around, getting past Lucas. As there we have our answer. Enzo in after after 7 laps. So maybe these medium tires don't last that long at all, unless he's going for a major undercut. But that will put him at the back of the pack in a lot of clean air. So this might be, I think they might try to undercut. Well, sorry. Yeah. Well, he wants to try and undercut to stay ahead at the front. Obviously, he's come out about 6 seconds behind Austin for Azuro. Obviously, this does promote everyone up a place, as Lucas is the first person to pick up 3 seconds for multiple track limit warnings, and he's currently in P5. That would drop him pretty much down to about 10th. But that would not help Tess at all. As Pookie right now here is the race leader here on lap 8 of 27. They've got about 20 laps to go. Obviously, I'd assume Enzo's gone on to the hards. Let's have a quick look. Yes, he has. So everyone's done 7 laps on their hard tyres right now. Or mediums. Obviously, Enzo was on the mediums. So I'm just wondering how worn his tyres were after those few laps. So I'd assume maybe the TF10, one of the TF10 drivers will come in this lap to probably try to cut off Enzo. And neither of them do. So maybe Enzo just used too much of his tyres, because Ovadi Bagabadi is actually struggling to keep up with Pookie. Obviously Pookie on those hard tyres, so is obviously keeping ahead. 9/10. There's, well, they've broken the second now, so we'll have to see. Let's have a ride on board here. Have a look at those front tyres. I don't really see any tyre deg on there. Oh, but I see it there on the front left there for Joe Baddy here. Like what you can see, especially in a slow chicane now, you can see the wear on those tyres. One thing they have added for this year's game as I see Jivadar coming into the chat and saying, honestly, I hate how fast people have zero racecraft DBA racing anymore. Oh, I'll say what happened, mate, with the incident? I saw one of the Red Bulls spinning and like did you crash into him or something? Is that what happened to you? Ruin your race pretty much? So I saw you had to pit for a load of wing damage, as we now see some more people coming into the pits. as Alexander Graf is in, Lucas is in, and Patrick is also in. So and Jibadar in chat saying Nick Arrow rear-ended Daniel and I had nowhere to go, ran into the back of them. That is very unfortunate for that to happen to you. That is very unfortunate. Just an innocent bystander in the commotion ahead. So that is unfortunate that ruined your race. I'm sorry to hear that, mate. That is such unfortunate. Anyway, more people have now pitted. Obviously, Enzo pitted 2 laps earlier than Alexander and is 3 seconds up the road from him, which is interesting. And obviously, Patrick's the only other person to pit. He's spent 2 laps out longer, as Nick Arrow gets 3 seconds for track limits. Will Avadi be in the pits this time around? No! Chooses not to pit again. So they are going to be under pressure here from Joe, as Joe's going to cut to the inside as Avadi left that door open. But right now it is an SCI 1-2 right now, with Pookie leading the way over Joe Murphy. So we'll have a look at these tyres right now. So obviously Avadi, Gabadi and Max and Nono are all not pitted yet. They're still on the mediums. So I'm just wondering, are those guys doing a 1-stop and taking a chance? Because if they are, I would assume they'll probably pit end of this lap? Maybe end of this lap, I would say. If I'm being honest, I thought end of last lap they would have pitted if they were doing a 1-stop. So Abdullah coming in chat saying tyres. Bro, I just had the tyres on like 2 seconds ago, mate. Like, you was not clearly paying attention. I'll be nice and put them back on for you, but like, there's your tyres. Like, I had the one like 2 seconds ago, as Alexander now has also got past Austin. So, like, here's your provisional race leader, as Gabadi is finally into the pits. Same with Max, and I've got poorly timed hiccups. And Nono is in as well, so all the medium runners are now into pits to put on their hard tyres, as I see in the background there that Austin is getting overtaken by Max, and Gabadi has actually come out behind them. So pitting 2 laps later. Pitting two laps later, yeah, Avadi is behind this Red Bull. The Red Bull is actually just kind of just getting out of the way, which I can respect. I respect that from Austin. Actually just gets out the way of the guys who are actually fast on brand new tyres, so like we're going to be like a lot faster than him. So obviously that is appreciated. Obviously now Gabedi will have to try and catch up to Lucas, who's a full second off of his teammate. Obviously Enzo is provisional race leader. Obviously he's the first person to stop, everybody else hasn't. It's just a question of when will the first of these hard runners pit is the big question. Because Pookie's the first one on the hards, and the last one on the old hards is Nick Arrow. Sorry, Austin. Obviously, but he's down in 13th, so he's not really in this fight at all. So obviously you can see as Lucas gets fastest lap of the race at a 1 minute 29.572. and he is only not long pit. Oh, he's on 3 lap old hard tyres, and is catching Alexander Graf. See Pookie here leading his teammate by a little bit. We'll go further back to this little group of 4 here, with Nando leading these guys. It's Lando ahead of them, and Trish, Brian and Valentino Labella, as we are about to approach pretty much the halfway mark of this race. So see, halfway through, half the grid's pitted, half of them have not. So we'll have to see, as it looks like Max got past Gabriel and also got past Austin here. So these guys, I missed the fight here. We'll see Gabriel and Hunter will try to keep up with them, because they will get DRS on the FBR driver as they come down to turn 1. So this could be an easy move made here for the Tatum Race Tech driver as they come out the final chicane. I want to see if Gabriel can get close enough. We'll revive onboard camera. It looks like Max is using the battery to try and keep ahead, and it looks like realistically Gabriel's not really trying to push to catch up. I think they're just going to be happy to sit behind. So we'll go back on board with these 4, if any of these will make a move. Guys, I put the tires, like, I put your tires on a while ago. Like, you need to pay attention, lads. Like, look, the top 8 have not pitted. They're all on 13 lap old tires. Austin is the only other person not to pit. He's down in 15th. You got Enzo on 6 lap old hards. You got Alexander, Lucas, and Patrick on 4 lap old hards. Then you've got Gabriel on 3 lap old hards, and then you got Gobadi, Max, and Nono all on 2 lap. Alright, Joe Murphy is into the pits as after 15 laps has had enough of his hard tyres. Wexel and chat saying, Piney, have you renamed the 2 guys on Steam so they don't have tags? I don't have them added. So... And when I had them, and plus when I don't think I ever had... Oh no, I did have them added at one point. But I never changed their names when I had them added, so I might have to do that. I might have to add like everyone. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really matter, because as I know which teams they drive for, and so it's all good. So where did Joe Murphy come out? He actually came out behind Gobadi, just where they were before he pitted, and he's onto the medium tyre after 14 laps. So he's gonna do 13 laps on these mediums. That is a big ask. Right, let's keep an eye on your teammate. Is he into the pits? I would assume he probably is. Yep, there we go. After 15 laps. Oh, you can see the front. You can see the front right there thing, but you don't see anything real on there. As Steg will now inherit the lead of this race. Valentino Labella also into the pits. So these guys have done 15 laps on the hard tyres, so they'll do 12 on the mediums. As Steg will do 11 on the mediums. We'll have to see where Pookie comes out. I think he's coming out the pits and he's ahead of his teammate, but only just, as he is right on the diffuser of Gobadi there. So Pookie is actually in what is a net P4 when everybody else pits right now. And Valentino Labella is behind Patrick and his own teammate, which he was behind his own teammate before anyway, but was not behind Patrick. So, and looks like as well, Pookie is going to try and catch up to Lucas ahead. Obviously, he doesn't want to use those medium tyres too much too early, because obviously that can ruin the tyres. As we're going to ride on board here with the top 4 here, as I would assume these guys are going to probably pit this lap. None of them will double stack with their teammates because all their teammates have already pitted. So Steg will be first in, then Nando, Trisk, and then Ryan. Obviously, we've done 15 laps of this race with 3 retirements. We've had Campbell, Adams retiring for reasons unknown, as Nando's into pit, same with Trisk, and Ryan is staying out for another lap, same with Steg. So these guys are going to do about, if they pit this lap, they'll do about 10 laps on the medium. So I think that's probably the correct. Would you say it's 10-17 on the tires, or would you say it's 11-16? I don't know, but most people are doing that anyway. And obviously, what Daniel crashed on the first lap with a small incident, apparently with Nick Arrow, according to Jivadar, as he came into the chat earlier to say what happened with him, because he got severe wing damage, and then also had to retired when they spun and damaged it again. So just a few people left to pit. Austin is at the back of the field, only person not to pit there. We've got Steg and Ryan also not pitted, and then Nick Arrow as well. On top of it, I assume all 4 of these will be in this lap. So Enzo will go into the lead of this race and will be closely will be trying to be closely followed by Alexander Graf, who currently is in a net P2. Because as you can see there, Steg, Enzo, Nick Arrow and Austin have all done 16 laps on those hard tyres, and there we go. Steg and Ryan are both into the pits, as Enzo's going to go flying past. And there goes Nick Arrow into the pits. You can see that tyre there is severely worn. As I assume Austin will be into the pits, so pretty much everyone now has pitted in this race. Enzo retakes the lead of this race, followed by Alexander Graf in P2, Lucas 3rd, then you got Pookie and Joe Murphy for 5th, Baddy, Max, Gabriel, Nuno, Valentino, Patrick, Nando, Trisk, Steg, Ryan. Austin obviously hasn't pitted, and then Nick Arrow at the back. So we'll have to see what changes here. Let's see if these guys can catch up to Enzo. Obviously Enzo is only 1.6 seconds up the road. Obviously Lucas here does have a 3-second time bonus, but we are going to ride on board here with Pookie, as look at this, Pookie's all over the back of that Thomas M racing car ahead. Obviously they've got to try and preserve those tyres as much as possible if they can. Obviously by the end of this race they will fall off that cliff. Oh, he's going to make the move into 130 before 130R. Yes, he is. Pookie with a good move there into the podium position there. And it looks like Max further behind was also got past Gabadi, who's dropped down to 7th. Pookie will now chase after Alexander Graf here for P2. Will try to make the move into turn 1. Yes, he will. Pookie now into 2nd. And just behind Enzo now, under the 1 second. So we're going to have one long train again. And it looks like Avadi has got past Max. These two are fighting over 6th place. Valentino Labella has got into 9th ahead of Nono behind their teammate. So their teammate ahead of him is about 3 seconds off the back. So Valentino Labella is ahead of all these guys. It's just a question of when he's all going to pit. I don't think Austin has pitted yet still. Now, this man has been on those hard tyres since the very start. Oh, looks like Nando making a move up, move on the inside of Nono, and I missed that into turn 11. Dag nabbit. Looks like Tristan might be the next person to try and make a move on the AMR driver. Obviously, the AMR on old hards compared to brand new mediums. As Joe Murphy's making a move down the inside of Lucas at the chicane and gets into fourth. But looks like Pookie is not quite close enough to Enzo to try and make a move for P1, so they're going to wait behind again. I think tactically, if you're Pookie, you're going to wait until pretty much the last possible time you could overtake Enzo, which will be on the very last lap down at turn 1. As looks like Steg has got past Trisk, as they've both got past No, as Nick Arrow sets fast on the top of the race, and Austin has finally come into the pits after 20 laps on those hards. Sorry, 19. What tires are going on that Red Bull? I would assume mediums, yeah. Because the softs... What do softs do? 8 laps? Possibly at this point, but you can never be too sure. So obviously now we're gonna have a right finish, a right fight here to the line here for the top few. So we'll have to see what happens. As you can see Pookie there all over the back of that Mercedes. Look at him all over the back. Will he make a move on the inside on the brakes? No, he will not. Not even going to try it. Look how close he is to the rear diffuser though of that Venturi. Is this the time where he makes the move for the lead of the race? I think it is going to be. There you go. Pookie on the inside of Enzo gets into the lead of the race. I should take the tyres off the screen there. Didn't realise it was still on. Oops. Ooh, nice tail cam. This is a nice camera angle. I've never had this camera angle before, but it's nice to see it when this happens. Obviously, that's Patrick there getting 3 seconds for track limits. That is not... Wow, I think they're still miles ahead of Nick Arrow, so I think they're going to be okay. So I think today is a bad day in the office for FVR, with their drivers being currently 7th and 16th. Especially a bad day in the office for Nick Arrow. Just had an abysmal qualifying and then I've not had a good race. But here you go, Pookie has broken a full 1 second to Enzo. So I think that's it then. Pookie is not going to be losing that gap anytime soon, so it is now just a fight for the last podium spots. Enzo currently in P2. So Pookie's been fast all weekend. Started off getting pole, obviously lost the lead on the very first lap, but has now broken 2 seconds to Enzo. Is Joe Murphy going to try and make a move here on Alexander Graf going into turn 1? Thought about it, but no. Fought against it, as I see Gabriel. Oh, we're going to have a free wire moment here. No, we're just going to get Gabriel Lamento just getting double overtaken by Ryan and Trisk, so demoting him down to 13th. His teammate is still in 8th place, so slowly still catching Gabadi, who is behind Max in 6th. So, but nice overtakes there from Trisk and Ryan to promote them up to 11th and 12th respectively. As we go on board here with Alexander Graf, who is struggling to keep up with Enzo and could be under threat from Joe Murphy. Realistically, Joe needs to try and get ahead of the TF10 driver to try and get ahead of Enzo to make it a 1-2 for his team. Currently his team, if I'm not mistaken, is 3rd in the standings. Obviously SCI are going to pick up a load of points today with their drivers being 1st and 4th. But we'll have to see if Joe can improve to make it 2 podiums for the team. Soon find out. Is he going to try and make a move on the brakes here on Alexander Graf? Alexander left the space but then closed the door because he had to brake. I thought Joe was going to attempt it again. He likes to... I think I've missed him a couple times making moves into the chicane. So he clearly likes going for moves there. unfortunately this time around, Alexander saw it coming and covered him off. As now Alexander is will want to try and get past Enzo, as now these guys are 3 seconds off the back of Pookie. But Pookie is just well and truly run away with this race. It is literally just a fight between these three for the last 2 podium spots. Obviously Joe Murphy will have to try again to catch up to Mr. Graff here, right, and take away 3rd place. Also, you can see further back, people are struggling. Oh, looks like Nick Arrow might scrape a point out of this if he can catch up to Patrick, who's off the back of no. So we'll have to see if they can catch up, as Valentino Labella is in DRS now of Nando for 8th, so that could be more points there for Tatum. Tatum needs to pick up some points because he are towards the bottom with Azurai, and obviously Azurai is not picking up any points today because with one driver DNFing and the other one at the back of the field, that's not going to improve anytime soon. Now, Alexander Graff is looking looking closer to Enzo here than he has done all race long. Is this the chance where the TF10 driver says, it's my turn to take over this little train here? Will he try and make the move, or will Joe Murphy behind go past? Nope, they'll go wait again as Gabadi and Max are fighting over 6th and 7th again. They're side by side, the 2 drivers, and there's contact made there between the 2 pair. But Max will stay ahead there. And will stay ahead there of Gabadi. As obviously as well, they are slowly being caught by Nando. Nando's in the DRS of them, and Valentina is getting very close. To be fair, Max and Gabadi are actually getting pretty close to the drivers ahead of them as well. Like, Enzo seems to be like slowing these guys down a little bit. As I wonder, because obviously Max here, look how close he is to DRS of these guys. If we just go on board with Lucas in 5th, and there you go, there you can see Max in the FER. Obviously they're all trying to catch up to each other. It's just the question is, how is this race going to finish? With 24 laps in this 27 lap race, these guys are 5 whole seconds now pretty much behind Pookie in the lead. So this win is going to be surely for SCI, unless somehow Pookie just drops it somewhere and just stops it. But we'll see, as Joe Murphy's all over the back of Alexander here, so Alexander's at a bad chicane now, but he's gaining on Enzo here. Will he try to go sweep around the outside? No. And Joe again doesn't feel like he can make it past. Obviously Joe at this point will be on, I do believe, 10 lap old medium tyres, so he could be struggling now on those tyres. But one person that's not struggling on his tyres is Pookie. He's got the gap almost to 6 seconds. Also as well, Max has got into DRS of this train, and so is Nando. Like, Valentino Labella is close to the back of this train, as Austin picks up his second 3-second time penalty for track limits. So Lucas is actually going to drop down the field quite a bit here. He's going to drop surely behind Steg down into, he's going to go from 5th to 10th, maybe 11th. No. Oh, no. He's just going to drop behind Valentino, actually. Never mind. So we'll keep on board here with these guys. Because they're on lap 25 here of 27. 2 corners left to go. Of this lap, then we're on to the penultimate lap. As it looks like Alexander Graff's had enough of Enzo and is going to make a move at the chicane. Still side by side, they are making contact. So this is going to give Joe Murphy a good opportunity as well. He's also got DRS on Enzo, and Enzo doesn't have any DRS, and both of them are going to go past. Will Joe going to sweep around the outside of Alexander Graff, and does! Joe Murphy with the move there improves himself up to 2nd. Alexander will stay where he is in 3rd, and Enzo will drop to 4th. Some lovely racing there from these 3, keeping all keeping their foot to the floor, and obviously Joe Murphy has benefited from the small contact there from Alexander and Enzo. So this has released Joe, and he will try to break away from these guys here on the penultimate lap. We have one more lap to go after this one. Obviously right now, and Avadi's getting attacked by Nando. Well, but Avadi stays ahead. Avadi stays ahead of Nando. But look, Nando's still all over the back of that TF10 car. Obviously coming up to 130R for the second to last time for these drivers. As Pookie is 7 seconds ahead of these guys. As it looks like Max is making a move here on Lucas, trying to go down the inside at the chicane. But the bumping and barging have dropped a little bit, but the side-by-siders have come down to the first corner, and Avadi Kibadi is going to be like, I'm going to take both of you! Trying to, but obviously, Lucas stays ahead, but Max gets a little tap there from Avadi Kibadi and drops behind. And I think Nando gets a little tap as well, so there's some little tapping there here on this final lap here. Those are like the last chances people had. Well, sorry, there's a few chances left. They can do it into the hairpin at turn 11 if they want to try and do something risky, or wait until the chicane. We'll have to see what people do. Obviously, Pookie has already gone past, already there. Joe still still ahead of the rest of this field behind him. Nobody's really making any moves, but people, again, Nando's trying to get past Avadi Kibadi here, but is struggling to get past the TF10 here. As we're coming into Spoon Curve, he's got one last opportunity to try and do it before 130R if he wants to try and take away 6th place from the TF10 driver. But with that small wobble there out of Spoon, he's going to struggle. As Pookie here coming around the last corner here to take the win here in Japan and make it SCI's first win here in this first win of Season 5 in CTC. Joe Murphy will make it a 1-2 for the team. Alexander Graf will take the last podium place. Enzo finishes P4. Avadi Kibadi will take 5th. Nando 6th. Valentino Labella 7th. Lucas 8th. Wojciech in 9th. Ryan in 10th. Trisk in 11th. Nono in 12th. Gabriel Mento in 13th. Nick Arrow 14th. Why Max has dropped behind these guys, I don't know why. But Patrick gets the fastest lap of the race on the last lap of a 127.9. That gives ET another point for fastest lap. And I think, if I do believe as well, I think that's ET8's 3rd fastest lap of the races so far. And obviously now we just wait for Austin to come across the line. Obviously, Omar will be happy that his team is 1 and 2. There's brilliant performance today from Pookie, and obviously brilliant move there from Joe Murphy on Alexander Graf and Enzo, making it a double overtake to make it a 1-2 finish for the team. So he'll be happy. So, as far as I'm aware as well, I'm not entirely sure what the date is for round 4. So you'll have to wait for an announcement for that. So we'll just get the full classification on the screen for you guys. And there you go, see Pookie with the win for SCI and Joe Murphy making that 1-2 for the team. Alexander Graf gets big points for TF10 in 3rd. Enzo for Venturi drops to 4th in the end. And Avadi Kibadi gets 5th, also, which is, I say, big points for TF10. Nando finishes 6th for Venturi, which gives them some more decent points. Valentino Labella ends in 7th. Picking up more points than Lucas, Steg, Ryan, Tris, Nono, Gabriella, I cannot speak right now. And then Nick Arrow, and then Patrick picks up the last point because we go down to 15 places. Oh wait, because Max got the glitch where he's been fixed out. Max actually finished 7th, So someone from FER needs to report this to get this reinstated, because if it doesn't get reinstated, it will classify him as 17th. So if you want him to make sure he gets his points for 7th, he needs to be reinstated. And then obviously the only non-finishers were Campbell Adams. I'll bring it back to the screen as well. Were Campbell Adams, Washed, and Daniel. Obviously, that is it from today's race. Thank you, obviously, all for watching. You'll have to keep an eye out on the CTC Discord, because I do believe Maze will announce the next stage. I assume either tomorrow, or should I say, I would assume either later today or tomorrow, because obviously I don't know the exact date of the next race. I do know what track it is, but I cannot tell you. That is up to him to tell you all. So obviously keep an eye on the Discord. But without further ado, we'll see you very soon, and hopefully Corey Brooks will be with me and I will not be by myself. But for the time being, we will see you when round 4 gets announced. Hopefully I don't think it'll be very long. Without further ado, goodbye.